There was at this time in Darius' army a man named Amyntas, a refugee from Macedonia, who was acquainted with Alexander's character. When he learned that Darius was eager to advance and attack Alexander as he marched through the mountain passes, he begged the Persian king to remain where he was in the flat open plains, where his immense numbers would have the advantage in fighting the small Macedonian army. Darius said that he was afraid the enemy might run away before he could come to grips with them, and that Alexander might thus escape him. To which Amyntas retorted, "Your Majesty need have no fears on that score. Alexander will march against you. In fact, he is probably on his way now." Darius refused to listen to Amyntas' advice, but broke camp and advanced to Sicily, while at the same time Alexander marched against him into Syria. During the night they missed one another, and both turned back. Alexander, delighted at his good fortune, hastened to catch his enemy in the narrow defile which leads to Cilicia, while Darius was no less eager to extricate his forces from the mountain passes and regain his former camping ground in the plains. He already saw the mistake he had made by advancing into a country which was hemmed in by the sea on one side and the mountains on the other, and divided by the river Pinarus, which ran between them. Here the ground prevented him from using his cavalry, forced him to split up his army into small groups, and favoured the opponent's inferior numbers. Fortune certainly presented Alexander with the ideal terrain for the battle, but it was his own generalship which did most to win the victory. For although he was so heavily outnumbered, he not only gave the enemy no opportunity to encircle him, but leading his own right wing in person, he managed to extend it round the enemy's left, outflanked it, and fighting in the foremost ranks, put the barbarians to flight. In this action he received a sword wound in the thigh, according to Chares. This was given him by Darius, with whom he engaged in hand-to-hand combat. Alexander sent a letter to Antipater describing the battle, but made no mention on it, of who had given him the wound. He said no more than that he had been stabbed in the thigh with a dagger, and that the wound was not a dangerous one. The result of this battle was a brilliant victory for Alexander. His men killed 110,000 of the enemy, but he could not catch Darius, who had got a start of about half a mile or more, although he captured the king's chariot and his bow before he returned from the pursuit.